What if the key to unlocking your team's potential is inviting them to challenge you? And what if your willingness to challenge them back creates an unstoppable culture of growth? And what if refusing to embrace challenges of your own opinions, ideas, concepts, etc. is the very thing holding you back? Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode of The Mammoth in the Room. Nicholas Bocconi, CEO of Mammoth Leadership Sciences. Today, we continue with our mini-series called Lead Like You Want to Be Led, which is also a chapter in my book, which has the same title as this podcast. And I want to start this with a few questions. What if the key to unlocking your team's potential is inviting them to challenge you? And what if your willingness to challenge them back creates an unstoppable culture of growth? And what if refusing to embrace challenges of your own opinions, ideas, concepts, etc. is the very thing holding you back? Yes, today we're tackling a subject that separates great leaders from mediocre ones. Embracing challenge and being willing to be challenged yourself. It's uncomfortable, it's humbling, and it's absolutely essential for unlocking the full potential of your team. The stakes are high and the lessons are real. Leadership is not about sitting atop a mountain of unchallenged decisions. It's about building an ecosystem where ideas thrive and innovation flourishes. Yet, too often, leaders cling to outdated beliefs that being challenged undermines their authority. Let me tell you a little secret. Refusing to embrace challenges could be the very thing holding you back. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and give me some reviews, either on YouTube or wherever you get your audio podcast from. Ready to get rolling? Let's dive in. And I also suggest to stick with me to the end, as we'll discuss valuable lessons from companies like Netflix, WeWork, and we even dive into politics. And let's start this on a rather generic level. Picture an all-powerful CEO, let's call him Greg, of a promising tech company. Greg's rise to the top had been meteoric, but his Achilles heel was glaring. He didn't tolerate being questioned. His leadership style was a mix of my way or the highway, and any dissent was swiftly dismissed. Greg's teams had ideas, some that could revolutionize the company's flagship product, but no one dared to speak up. Why risk Greg's wrath? Over time, innovation stagnated, morale plummeted, and Greg's competitors raced ahead. Within 2 years, his company was eclipsed by a rival whose CEO thrived on brainstorming and feedback. Greg is a cautionary tale, but he is not alone. Leadership that prioritizes ego over openness suffocates creativity and discourages problem solving. Now, contrast this with a leader like Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft. When he took the reins, he inherited a company struggling with internal competition and stagnation. Satya's first priority? Breaking silos, creating a culture of collaboration, and asking his teams to challenge him. By leaning into discomfort, Microsoft rekindled its innovative spark and today represents a market cap of over $3 trillion. Why does inviting challenge work? It's rooted in evolutionary psychology. Human beings are wired for collaboration and problem solving. Our ancestors survived not by bowing to one chief's every whim, but by debating the best way to hunt, build, and thrive. This collective intelligence is still embedded in us. When leaders encourage open dialogue, they tap into the incredible potential of their teams. A 2021 study in organizational behavior and human decision processes showed that teams with leaders who foster constructive challenge significantly outperform those with autocratic leaders. Why? Because diverse viewpoints reveal blind spots, improve decision-making, and lead to stronger, more innovative solutions. Now, here are some practical examples of embracing challenge. Let's start with the Netflix way. We call it radical transparency. Reed Hastings, co-CEO of Netflix, built a culture of radical transparency where feedback is not only welcomed, but expected. Employees are encouraged to challenge ideas at all levels, including Hastings himself. In one famous example, a junior employee questions Netflix's decision to launch a new product feature. Instead of dismissing the feedback, Hastings called a meeting to dissect the concerns. The result? The team identified potential flaws in the feature's design, preventing a costly misstep. Number 2, let's talk about Jacinda Ardern's inclusive leadership. Jacinda Ardern is a former Prime Minister of New Zealand, and she exemplified the power of inclusive decision-making. During the COVID-19 crisis, she invited scientists, economists, and community leaders to openly debate her government strategies. By fostering an environment of challenge, Ardern was able to implement policies that balanced public health and economic stability. Her willingness to listen strengthened trust and showed the world what adaptive leadership looks like. Now let's break this down. How can you as a leader create an environment where challenge is not only accepted but celebrated? First of all, start with yourself. Your team takes cues from you. If you react defensively to criticism, you send a message that challenging ideas is risky. Instead, approach challenges with curiosity. Say things like, I hadn't considered that. Tell me more. This small shift can transform your team's perception of feedback. Or other ideas come to mind which have the power to start shifting team culture. Simple phrases like, I welcome all feedback, or what did I miss? All of that encourages team input. Then create safe spaces. Psychological safety is critical. Encourage open dialogue by making it clear that dissent won't lead to retaliation. For example, Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx, celebrates mistakes within her team, viewing them as opportunities for learning. This approach fosters trust and emboldens employees to share bold ideas. Then formalize feedback mechanisms. Implement structures like devil's advocate. You can give somebody a role during meetings. Assign a team member to intentionally challenge assumptions and present alternative viewpoints. This strategy normalizes constructive dissent and ensures ideas are rigorously tested. Now, there are obviously warnings when you look at leaders of our current environment who actually refuse the challenges. One example is the downfall of WeWork's Adam Neumann. His meteoric rise as CEO was fueled by charisma, but his refusal to be questioned was his undoing. Neumann surrounded himself with yes men and women, rejected warnings about overspending, and ignored feedback about WeWork's flawed business model. The result? A failed IPO, plummeting valuation, and his eventual ousting. Neumann's story is a stark reminder that unchecked leadership breeds failure. Teams that can't challenge their leaders can't course correct, and the cost is often catastrophic. Now, what are the benefits for business leaders? What can business leaders learn from these stories? Well, the takeaway is clear. Challenge fuels growth. Leaders who embrace being challenged gain insights they'd otherwise miss. They foster trust, boost morale, and drive innovation. Conversely, leaders who reject challenge risk isolating themselves in echo chambers where ideas stagnate and progress halts. Imagine running a brainstorming session where every idea is met with yes and instead of yes but. You can even forbid the word or the words yes but. You always have to say yes and so that the one builds on the other. The difference is night and day. One creates momentum, the other one shuts it down. Great leaders don't shy away from challenge, they embrace it. Whether you're a manager, a CEO, or team leader, creating a culture where ideas are debated openly and feedback flows freely will set you apart. Remember, leadership isn't about being right, it's about getting it right. And I can tell you from my own journey, it takes guts and experience to embrace challenge and to be open about that you don't know or that you might not have the best solution. But when you reach this point, genuinely, not artificially pretending it, just really living it, it makes you so much stronger. When you invite challenge, you're not just improving your team's outcomes, you're also creating a more open and dynamic culture where each team member feels valued. Great leaders recognize that the best ideas don't always come from the top, and they see constructive challenge as a way to unlock the team's full potential. Embracing and encouraging challenge makes your team more resilient, adaptable, and ready to tackle the complexities of today's work environment. And in addition to that, you're creating a space where everyone, including yourself, can grow and succeed. All right, thank you for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate, and share with anyone who's passionate about leadership. And stay tuned for next week's episode where we'll have a surprise for you. And lastly, if you're interested in more, you can order my book. It has the same title as this podcast, The Mammoth in the Room. It offers a practical roadmap how great leaders and their teams embrace evolutionary truths for outstanding business results. And it does that in 3 sections: on people, on strategy, and on implementation. Until next time, Nicholas Bocconi, The Mammoth in the Room.